Hello, my fellow concerned friends, and welcome back to my channel, unless you're new here, in which case, hello, I'm doing something different. I'm doing a makeup tutorial for you guys today. And as you can see, I have very red skin. That's because I have really dry skin. I basically feel like I have lizard skin, like my skin regenerates multiple times a day, and then it cracks and it peels and it's very painful. I have been to a dermatologist for this twice now. It was 2 different dermatologists. Both of them told me 2 different things. So they also both gave me 2 different medications. Whatever. It clearly did not work. So my plan is I am going to save a little money for myself and get a facial and see if one of you, oh, hi Kitty, that's Dr. Bell. If one of you estheticians out there maybe can help me crack the code to my skin. But this is how I'm kind of taking care of it, I guess, for now, and how I do my makeup. Something you're going to notice a lot in this video is e.l.f. products. As you can see, I'm trying to show them to you, but I was having a hard time getting my camera to focus. Guys, I bought e.l.f. because they were affordable and they were working for my skin. And then they decided to hire Matt Rife for that ad. You know, Matt Rife, the guy who made DV jokes. Yeah, they hired that guy to represent their skincare / makeup brand that is bought by predominantly women. So yeah, not a good move on e.l.f. Still debating on if I'm going to buy any more e.l.f. Not really though. I'm kind of looking more at hard candy, which you'll see towards the end is the setting spray that I use because it's been around for a long time. And I remember it was like kind of poppin' in the 2000s. I don't know if you guys remember that. And also I was a younger kid, so I don't remember that too greatly. I just remember seeing it everywhere and I'm really enjoying their setting spray. So hopefully I will really enjoy some of the products that I enjoyed as a kid, stealing from my grandmother's makeup bag. And yes, I am fully aware of what you are looking at right now. That is my platinum blonde roots. Yes, I said platinum blonde. Can you guys not see that that is platinum blonde? I'm obviously being facetious, okay? I'm being facetious, all right, if that's not obvious. Do y'all also notice that one white hair? Guys, I am graying, I am whitening, is that it? And I am super excited, especially because of the location where I am graying and whitening. That's not the right way to say that, okay? And also this product, I know it's meant for your under eyes, but I found it it really helps to cover up my redness and I guess color correct my redness. Anyway, back to my whitening hair. I'm really, really excited because I know in today's in our society today, that's what I'm trying to look for, is the trend is to not age ever. And, you know, I'm not going to lie, I definitely have my insecurities. So far, I'm not insecure about going white or going gray. It definitely looks white to me, especially in person. But I definitely do have my insecurities, especially with my face. I am noticing between my eyebrows, I'm definitely getting more deeper lines. And I didn't think that I'd ever be insecure about, having lines or wrinkles on my face until I got older and I'm seeing that everybody basically has Botox and everybody's getting filler and it's so easily accessible and it's not cheap, but it's also not as inaccessible financially as it was, back even, 10 years ago. And so there's so much pressure to take away the movement from our face to prevent the inevitable, which is aging. And I'm really just trying to find ways to just love myself because that wrinkle between my eyebrows has, stood up for myself so many times. I feel like I have a very expressive face and, I'm trying to appreciate the fact that today that's kind of a rarity to have an to have a face with a lot of expression. But yeah, all of that to say, I am really excited about my hair because, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody, but the way my hair is starting to gray and go white is right where my bangs are. So I've got to figure out how I can continue to keep my hair black while also letting my white grow out so I can start looking skunky. I'm going to look skunky, and I'm really, really excited. So any hairdressers that have any recommendations, I already know what the recommendation is going to be. The recommendation is going to be, I need to go to a salon and I need to find somebody who I trust and who can give me what I'm looking to achieve. I know, guys. Okay, I'll just buckle down and do it, but let me go to the esthetician first. I feel like I'm not saying that right, but I really need to go there first because my biggest problem area with my face is definitely my nose. It's just so lizardy. It's lizardy. I feel like I'm really honestly over exaggerating. It's not that bad, but what I'm doing now just isn't working. And I will say I've been stopping using the face wash I was using. I was using the Cetaphil or the CeraVe. I think it was the CeraVe hydrating face wash. I'll put a picture of it up here. But yeah, that was definitely, I don't think, doing me any favors. I've been using it since I was like a senior in high school. And since I've stopped using it, my skin is definitely not like as freaked out as it was. I also just want to say thank you guys so much for 155,000 of you. You guys are making my dreams come true. Genuinely, you're making my dreams come true. And, I've been really, really discouraged just because of everything that's going on in the world. And it feels like no matter how much I try to do what I can do, it's never enough. And yeah, I've just been feeling really discouraged. But like I mentioned in my previous video, which is this makeup look that I'm doing, by the way, I read Fahrenheit 451, and that book just really inspired me to just keep doing all that I can. So what me and my friend decided to do, you guys have seen my friend before. She went with me to the protest. Her name is Michaela. Her name is Michaela. Okay. Me and her decided yesterday after a walk we went on to start going on walks together. And it was a really great walk. We had really great conversation and everything. And then we both went our separate ways, obviously. We both went to our houses, but she was doing a live with the Jaywalk app. I don't know if you guys have heard of the Jaywalk app. I'll go ahead and throw them up here too. But she was doing a live with them. And, they were just talking about different things that we can do, right? And I was watching the live, and it really inspired me once again to, first of all, hear that I'm not the only one who feels that what the host said was burnout. I'm not the only one who feels like, nothing's going to change and like what I'm doing is not enough, right? But what we need is camaraderie. What we need is consistency. So me and my friend decided to start going on walks pretty consistently. I don't think we've really established how often, but definitely at least once a week. And while we're going on those walks, we will be wearing protest signs, essentially. Like, I think she mentioned something about ordering hoodies, custom hoodies or sweatshirts that have, different protest things on them and different causes on them. I even, I recommend using a protest sign and taping it to my wagon stroller thing, just while we're just walking, simply walking. We're not creating a, outright disturbance and disruptance, but we are disruptive. We are, bringing more attention to this, even though not everybody is thinking about these things just because it's No King's Day or it's an anticipated protest. And like the host said, it's the more that we do this and, the more that we're just consistent, more and more people are going to join us, if you will. And before long, it'll be a whole movement, and it'll be, we're out there walking every single day until something is done and something has changed. And, as a mom, it feels so small. And as a mom, I feel like so often my hands are tied because I'm balancing in my hands of one hand wanting to be out there on the front lines and using my white privilege, especially as a white woman. I want to use my privilege for those who, are being targeted. But at the same time, I have small kids who are relying on me to be there for them and help guide them in what's right, because the alternative, is that I'm not there. And then that puts stress on the family unit as a whole. And, it's really a difficult balance as a mom. So I feel like this is something that I can do and something that I can involve my children in. And yeah, it was such an inspirational, little live, if you will, if you can't tell. In other words, all of those churches that lady called, in my video that I posted, have you guys watched it? Have you watched it? Stop watching this video, please, and go watch that video, okay? And everyone who watches that video, y'all are genuine troopers, because I realize that that's like, if you're watching that video, you're basically committing to watching a movie. That's a movie-length video, so y'all are real ones, but I really would appreciate it if you guys went and watched that video, because I put a lot of work into it, and it's something that's really near and dear and close to me, because this whole situation is just the tip of the iceberg on why me and my husband deconstructed from Christianity. But these churches that Nikaylee called did have church this past Sunday, and some of these church services were very wholesome. I'll include some right here.
And you love beautiful. You love a pair of shoes. I love the babies. Born on Bernard Bridge. Steve Connor, K.O. Belly, one of them. I showed Nikki the old house.
Like, look, that's Nikaylee in attendance right there. So wholesome. But some of these church services were anything but wholesome. These pastors are deflecting, I mean, all kinds of stuff. Again, I will let you watch here.
The video that has celebrated what is believed to be unrighteous behavior on our part is itself an unrighteous, fake attempt to set a trap for us and derail the ministry of GBC and steal our joy and steal our confidence as the people of God. We seek to walk in the light and walk in truth. The attempt to disparage GBC is neither light nor truth. The writer of Proverbs is known to personify wisdom as a person, but he also personifies folly. He says in chapter 9, verse 13, the woman folly is loud. She is seductive and knows nothing.
Oh, isn't the deflection something else? And who else is completely unsurprised that a pro-life church would turn their failure into a poor me message for the congregation and make themselves out to be the victim in a situation where, at the time, they could only presume a starving baby needed fed, and they said no. And my experience and this social experiment has proved my personal theory. Church is the best place to go to learn how to use Darvo. And if you're unfamiliar with what Darvo is, let me fill in this gap for you. Darvo is a manipulation tactic, and it stands for deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender. And this is so evident, especially with this pastor, but really any church who is victimizing themselves in this situation, because let's all go back to square one. When these churches answered the phone call, all they could know in that moment is, I hear a screaming baby, and this woman is not asking for cash. She is asking for someone to buy her formula so she can pick it up and feed her starving baby. Because let's not forget, she is saying that this baby is 2 months old. As a mother of 3, I know how much those kids eat. And if they even miss one feeding, even by 5-10 minutes, all hell breaks loose. So you can only imagine in real life the urgency of a 2-month-old not eating for 24 to even 48 hours. They said no, because that's what they have been doing, is saying no, saying we are not entitled to help you. But isn't that the whole reason they're tax exempt in the first place, is because they're supposed to be a resource for their local community?
Expect this kind of thing from radical, woke, unbelieving trolls who wish to disparage the gospel and God's church. The irony of a pro-abortionist making that call is funny.
That might be funny to him, but what's hilarious to me is a pro-life church being unwilling to feed a starving baby. I also find it so funny that in his defense, because he is having arrows shot through him right now and he's doing anything he can to send them flying back, he kind of slips up a little bit and essentially is saying that if you are a radical leftist, if you are in need and you are anything but what their church's personal beliefs and political beliefs are, they're not going to help you.
I'd like to have my own social experiment, if I could, for just a second. If somebody walked in the back door right now asking for a can of baby formula, how many of you would help? Just show by a raise of hands. There's your social experiment. That's who GBC is.
There's your social experiment. Why did he say it like that? It was so kind of creepy sounding, I can't lie. That's who GBC is. But it's not though, because you had an anonymous caller calling for formula for their starving child, and y'all didn't say yes. Y'all didn't give them formula. You couldn't have known their political beliefs from that 2-second phone call, and you couldn't have known that that was a fake baby. It's crazy that they are more offended that they got found out through a social experiment done by a radical leftist, woke, abortionist liberal than they are about the fact that, yeah, they are failing their community and having to face the fact that, okay, maybe we should step up and apologize and take accountability. They are allergic to accountability and they will always find a way to make their problems actually your fault.
We had a little situation. Someone called this situation. And y'all know if it was up to me, I would have been unplugged social media a long time ago. It's just a playground for good things, but also evil. So as much good as you can get out of it, you get a lot of evil.
Churches say this to keep you in their tiny little social circle. Churches say this so that you feel guilty when you go online and maybe you agree with somebody who has different political beliefs than you. They say this so that you tell yourself, oh, this is just because I'm in the devil's playground and the devil is sly and he says things that sound pleasing to us and it might sound good on paper and in my ear, but I just have to trust God that it's not. This is what they do because it's easier to control you. It is easier to control you when you are unaware of what your other options are and of what the other facts are.
And the person who goes around calling churches and putting the voice of a baby crying in the background. And I say, really the person is low. So, like I teach these men over here, folk want to apologize. I don't apologize to the devil. Sometimes Christians get so weak, you forgot we're supposed to rebuke evil. So if you could pretend to have a crying baby to try to call churches and to trick people into things.
Again with the Darvo, I was tricked into something. No, you weren't. You probably, I don't know, I've not listened to all of his sermons and stuff, but I know what the Bible says. And if they are a church, I can only assume that they are preaching the Bible. And I know I'm going to get those Christians who are all like, well, not every church preaches the Bible. Oh my God, I'm ignoring you guys. We get the principle here, right? The intelligent people get it. All right, let's move on. Okay. Churches preach to be like Jesus. And Jesus told the church to feed the hungry, care for the widows, care for the poor and needy, the sick. You are to be the hands and feet of Jesus Christ. I don't understand why that is so hard for these churches to understand that. But no, instead of recognizing that and recognizing that they failed at that, they once again pull the Darvo. I was tricked. No, these churches were not tricked because she always told them afterwards that this is a social experiment. So it's not like these churches sat there with this guilt of thinking that there is a starving baby. They were told that there was no baby. Okay? They were found out. These churches weren't tricked. They were found out. And now they're mad about it because now they have to make a change. Or they can pull the woe is me, I'm the victim actually card. Now here's what I hope happens after the social experiment is I hope that a lot of churches kick it in gear. I don't have faith that that's what's going to happen, but I do hope that there is a positive out of this, because the way I see it is if you're a Christian, right? If you're a pastor and you're listening to this, the way I see it is if you unconditionally help your community without pressuring them to join your cult, your church. Sorry, I had to make a cult joke at least once, guys, okay? If you are unconditionally serving your community regardless of background, no matter what, then when those people who are in need have what they need and they have extra, don't be surprised when they make a donation without attending. And as a former Christian, I understand that you guys think that the number one most important thing in life is getting someone saved and out of the path to hell. But you got to realize that even if that's really what you believe, people are not going to be interested in that for longevity's sake when you are holding food over their head or shelter over their head or love over their head. People will start to be genuinely curious when they are seeing who you are and what you believe, and the fact that you are unconditionally loving them and supporting them and being there for them. You don't even have to force them to attend your church. Like it's a cycle, right? The give and take, the ebb and flow, or whatever, of the community. And if more churches were an actual resource for the community, just think about all of the possibilities. There are churches like on every single corner. If every single church started doing more, we wouldn't have homeless people on the street. We wouldn't have people going hungry. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents as a former Christian, and I hope you guys liked this video. I'm wrapping it up here with some lip gloss that one of my mutuals from TikTok sent me whenever she sent me one of her books that she wrote. I don't know what it's called though, because the label has wiped off. Oh, here's that hard candy I was telling you about. This stuff works really, really, really good. Like I said, I have really dry skin, and this stuff, it makes my face feel moisturized and everything locked in without making things slide around or making my foundation crack around my nose. I know it looks not great, but that's because it's really, really, really dry right now because my family was at the beach this past weekend and I got a little sun. Although I know you can't really tell, but that's okay. Here I am serving face, as you can see, checking my lip liner because I have a double lip line and sometimes it confuses me to do my lip liner. Here I am once again serving face. Oh, she's so cute. I actually really, really liked this makeup look. I think I'm going to try it other ways, I don't know, play around with it, but I think I'm going to this will make appearances again. Yeah, well, I hope you guys liked this video. I know it was different, but I will see you guys on the next one. Bye.